games, and were you pleased with the level of buy-in that you saw over the summer?
Yeah, I think we had an excellent summer, and the difference this year is we were able to work with our guys just with the rules and how. So there was really never a disconnect with our players this year. And I think from top to bottom, we made a lot of gains, made a lot of strides, got a lot of experience. I think the drill work that we were able to do was all good, and feel really good moving as we go into the day one of camp.
We got to talk to Fabian and Robert, Fabian last week up at ACC kickoff, and he's going to be one of the anchors. Can you just talk about the importance of having those two guys in the middle between Fabian and Coop, and that's where it's going to be where it starts for you guys this season?
Yeah, I mean, they're just those two guys that played a lot of football here, and that's easy to say. But the improvement that Robert Cooper and Fabian Lovett have made since their day they came on campus is tremendous. I mean, when you can go into their last season and see how many starts they've had, that's all important. But the more important thing that I've made note of and we've made note of as a staff is just where they were and where they are. And they're continually getting better. Mindset, physically developed, just how their bodies look, and so I think both those will have their best year of football here this year.
How's Dennis Briggs looking at this point, and how is he going to fit into the defense? We know about it from spring, but if you could explain that a little bit, how he's going to fit in and what role he'll play this year for the
Yeah, we moved Dennis to Fox. That's where all systems go on that. He's 100% healthy at this point. The training has come in. He's an incredibly gifted player, and he was really productive for us last year. We moved him out just because we thought that gave him the best chance to make our defense the best it could. And he's excited about it. We're excited about it, and you'll see a lot of him this year.
Coop got to break the rock to finish summer conditioning. I guess just what went into that decision. Obviously, that's a staff decision to let him do
I mean,
that.
you'd have to probably ask Coach Storms, a little bit more. I did talk to Coach Storms because I kind of had a sense just how Coop was doing, and listen, Coop's been here from day one since we walked through the door, and just see the commitment he's made not only to himself but to the team, the program, and that showed up in the off season, that showed up in the season, and so that was something that I know our team was excited to see it, and Coop deserved it.
Jammie already set the bar pretty high. First team All ACC last year. What does he need to do? What are you looking for him to take it to even a higher level?
Help the team become the best team we can be this year. And that's the good thing about going through the process with Jammie is just he's back. He chose us. We chose him, and this will be year 2, and we're at a higher starting point with him right now. And just the position flexibility that gives us, I think he's developed off the field as well, and just his leadership. And last year there were some frustrating moments of him trying to push, but now I think the alignment of him with the rest of the team and just his mindset right now. We know what he can accomplish on the field, but I think the off the field impact he's made in the last 4 or 5 months has been really special, and I'm looking forward to seeing him push to have a great year.
Tanner Bethune's a pro's pro, and he was here in spring, but how much did that help, even for somebody as veteran as he is, to get in spring so that you guys are of one mind as you head into fall
I think
camp?
it was, to have most of the defense here in the spring was huge, but especially a guy that plays in the middle of your defense is involved in a lot of the baseline communication, which Tatum is. Just to see him get along with Kalen and Amari and DJ Lundy and Stephen Dix and Brennan Gant and see that room start to really come together. He is a very calculated leader in a good way. Like, he's mature, he loves football, he loves competition, and he's got the skill set to be really good. So he belongs here, and he'll be a key part to our defense this year.
He'll be one of those guys communicating before the snap. Who else are you leaning on to make sure that everybody's where they need to be?
Well, everybody on their feet. I think it's incredibly important that we have listeners and we have people that are commanding of what needs to be said, but we put communication on a lot of different people. But it really falls in the middle of the defense. The 2 safeties, the 2 backers on the field, they always have to be in that role, and that's a critical piece to us playing well.
Jared Verse obviously flashed a ton in the spring, guy that's put up a ton of production already in his college career. Where do you see him growing the most over this next month as he prepares to help you guys this season?
I think just continually his relationship with our guys and him as a teammate. I think when you bring guys in that were transfers, I think that's always part of it. I think the physical development has really hit. Just seeing that's been natural for him. He is a pusher. He's somebody that outworks himself constantly. I just think his role with the team and what that fits in day to day with success and failure and how that looks. I think that's the biggest thing that we got to continue to work on with him because it's different and it's new for him.
Over the last week or so, Coach Norvell has talked a lot about players taking ownership of the team and players coaching players. Just Curious defensively, what specifically have you seen on your side of the ball?
Well, it started last year and now it's continued. And, there's a lot of, you say player ownership, whatever that is. You got to give them the room to be able to do that. I think the biggest thing when you're a coordinator is you want that unit to feed off of you, right? You want to set things up in place that it can operate, that the standards are high, the expectations, the work, all that stuff. But once you feel like you're there, I think it's your job as a coordinator to step back and now let those players run with it. Now, will it be exactly how you want it? Maybe, but you'll learn some things about that group too. And I think we're seeing that. Listen, we've got 18 guys that have started football games here on defense. We've got 7 other guys on top of that have played over 200 snaps last year. And there's a lot of guys that played a lot of football. And so I think to be able to run things in a way to allow them to take control, I think is important.
Going along with that, how does that factor into the consistency that this team looks at, that leadership, having those guys that have experience, how does that translate?
Nothing's a better teacher than experience, and whether it's successful or failure. And I think our guys have gone through a lot of growth in a lot of ways. So I think just that experience builds confidence. And I think so at this point, I think we have a confident group. We have a group that's hungry because they don't like where we're at as a football program right now. And they're excited to change it, and they put the work in to do it.
With Jammie and Akeem, can you just talk a little bit about your relationship and how important the leadership that they're going to have with that defensive backbone is? How they talk to the guys in the room, just kind of what they're like behind the scenes.
Yeah, I mean, they've played a lot of football. Last year it helped us on defense when they played together more. And so I think this summer, anytime you can define a role for a guy, it really helps. Like, we as workers want that too, right? So you can just go to work. Once we made that, and I think the summer went in, listen, they know they're going to be on the field a lot together this year. So I think it just helped with the work. And guys know when if something has a question, their eyes go to them. There's not a bunch of guys trying to talk about it. So that stuff has helped. And just my relationship with both of them and coaching the safeties and being around them, I just think it builds for an easier communication line. It's one-to-one and go get it.
And with Akeem, I know you talked about his confidence, this spring, how he's been able to build that up. Can you just talk about where he is now? And then, I know Jammie is a really confident player as well, too. So how important do you think that is for those two guys?
Well, you can have fake confidence, and that doesn't last. That lasts as long until you don't make a play. If you fail, but you've done all the work and you feel totally supported in what you've done, things will work out. And I think Akeem's done that. He's always been a really good worker, but he's had injuries, and so that's taken away. So when he's failed, he's looked back like, I've been injured, I don't know if I can come back from this, because it offers self-doubt. Now he's on a year, 18 months of just pushing and going. So I think, plus production, I think that all has helped him become a confident player, as you put it.
What do you think the identity of the defense could be this season?
Just playing unbelievably fast and playing together. Like a disciplined, confident, tough unit. And we're there from a group now. Now we just got to go prove it day in, day out.
Bernardo Green had a great spring. How much confidence does that give you in him? And what do you think is kind of the key for him to continue that success?
Just consistency and being out there. He's been another guy that's been put in a role. He started safety, then we moved corner, he's been hurt. Just the consistency of being able to stay out there. When he's done it, he's usually a reliable worker. And so, when times are tough, we've got to make sure that we know the Bernardo we're getting. And the work that he's put in right now, I have the utmost confidence that he's going to help this defense this year.
Who will be competing with Renardo for that job?
What's that?
Who will be competing with Renardo for?
Yeah, I mean, that group right now is Duke Cooper at corner, it's Greedy Vance, it's Jarian Jones, it's Bernardo Green, and then it's Azaria and Sam. It's kind of the core group right now. Then Kevin's at nickel, and then we'll kick one of those guys in to get some nickel work too.
And the plan is for Kevin to stick at nickel.
Oh yeah, that position plays 600 snaps for us, so it's a starting position.
With Sam and Azaria, obviously they both flashed individually in the spring. What are you looking to see from those two guys? Obviously early on in their career, but what are you looking to see from them through camp to be contributors for you this season?
The best way to know how they're going to play in the game for the most part is just take camp as a whole and not get too high or not too low on how things go each day. But we're going to put them in positions to go against good players, so it's real. That's going to happen. That happened in the spring, and that'll happen because we do think they have the skill set to be able to help us, and I think they're mature enough. It's just putting them through the fire and making sure that's consistent every day to make sure that their teammates can count on them when the time comes.
What's the biggest difference from year to year with Derek McClendon?
size, strength, growth, maturity. I mean, he had to play when he was super young and he wasn't ready. Now he's ready.
You have obviously a ton of new faces that are going to be contributors on the defensive line. How confident are you in that group and returning that production that was obviously so great this past season?
Very.
Awesome.
Is that good, or do I need to?
Yeah, that's good.
Can Omar Graham, do you think this season crack a rotation where he might see some
That's
snaps?
the plan. It's hard for a freshman to play in the middle of the defense, safety, linebacker. It's hard to do that. I think we've got some good players ahead of him, but we're pushing him. Like, he'll be a guy that his reps won't ever get skipped. You know what I mean? So, like, if Tatum, DJ, Amari, who've played a lot of football, they may get bumped on a rotation here and there. OG will always be in position to make sure he's getting enough snaps. He showed enough in the spring that he's got a chance.
Those freshman defensive linemen, obviously there's a ton of depth in front of them. But
You talking about the redshirt freshmen or the true freshmen?
I guess both.
All of them,
Yeah.
So Pat Payton, Byron Turner, George Wilson, they all have a chance. Hester and Dante Anderson, probably a little bit further behind. They're true freshmen. They were here in the spring. I think they have upsides. They'll be fine. But I think Pat and Byron will really have a chance to help us. George, we're putting him in some positions on special teams and on third down to maybe have a role because he's a plus athlete. And then inside, Daniel Lyons, Bishop Thomas, we're excited about those guys. But Josh Farmer will have an impact this year. Chambray Jackson had a really good offseason, so we'll see where that group goes.
Where is Shaheem Brown currently in terms of his progress?
He's running with the second group at free safety. We'll roll with the one sometimes, but he's certainly in the mix. Shaheem Brown will play a lot this year.
I talked to Jammie at ACC kickoff, and he said, the difference between liking football and loving football is I would die for this game. And Fabian echoed that statement. Are you seeing more of those guys now, year 3 of the program, coming in that have personation?
I think I think you recruit those type of people, and then you create an environment where those kids can prosper. Because they want to be pushed, right? They don't want to sit there and say you're really good at everything, because they look at the record and they know we're not. So they're able to let that stuff shine. So I think we got a good group of hungry guys that love football. That's a good place to start.
With Sidney Williams obviously returning from the past year's injury, where do you see him, fitting into the mix?
Yeah, he's playing buck behind Akeem right now, be part of the rotation. I think he's got enough flexibility that he can play dime too and leave Jammie at safety. So there's a lot of ways that Sidney can help us. I mean, he started a lot of games for us. When he's been healthy, he's been a very good player for us. And this will be his best year of football because he's stronger, bigger, faster than he's ever been.
Last year at this time, you expressed urgency. We got to figure out. It's nice we have versatility in the defensive backfield, but we got to carve out roles right now. So, what is the urgency you feel this year as you start fall camp? Is there something, a goal that's
There's
right
a
away?
lot of urgency. We haven't been very good the last couple of years, so we're just trying to be our best, which takes a lot of urgency. So, I don't know. I mean, that happened to be the defensive backfield, and now we've got a bunch of guys coming back. So now it's the urgency for me to be creative enough every day to, number one, make sure they know they're challenged, but make sure they know they do have confidence. They should have swagger in the work right now, and just be able to go out there and play our best.
How much did the way the first year unfolded?
Hi.
How's it going?
Good to see you.